The Peugeot 504 is an automobile manufactured by French automaker Peugeot between 1968 and 1983, with licensed production continuing until 2006. 1968 Euro introduction. Peugeot's flagship, the 504 made its public debut on September 12, 1968 at the Paris Salon. The press launch, which had been scheduled for June 1968, was at the last minute deferred by 3 months, and production got off to a similarly delayed start because of the political and industrial disruption which exploded across France in May 1968. The 504 was a sunroof-equipped four-door saloon, introduced with a carbureted 1,796 cc's four-cylinder petrol engine 79 bhp with optional fuel injection. A column-mounted 4-speed manual transmission was standard. A 3-speed ZF 3 horsepower 12 automatic available as an upgrade. 1969, the 504 was European Car of the Year in 1969, praised for its styling, quality, chassis, ride, visibility, strong engine and refinement. The 504 injection two-door coupe copyright and two-door cabriolet were introduced at the Salon de Geneva in March 1969. The engine produced the same 97 bhp of output as in the fuel-injected saloon, but the final drive ratio was slightly revised to give a slightly higher road speed of 20.6 miles per hour at 1,000 rpms. Available models: 504 four-door saloon, 504 injection four-door saloon, 504 injection two-door coupe copyright, 504 injection two-door cabriolet. 1970, the 504 received a new four-cylinder 1971 cc's engine, rated at 96 bhp and 104 bhp, and a four-cylinder 2112 cc's diesel rated at 65 bhp. The 1796 cc's engine remained available. In September 1970 an estate was added, featuring a higher rear roof, lengthened wheelbase and solid rear axle with 4 coil springs. It was joined by the 7-seat Familiale, which had all its occupants facing forward in 3 rows of seats. Models: 504 four-door saloon, 504 5-door estate, 504 injection four-door saloon, 504 diesel four-door saloon, 504 injection two-door coupe copyright, 504 injection two-door cabriolet, 504 pickup. 1973 to present. In April 1973, because of the oil crisis, Peugeot presented the 504L. It featured a live rear axle and a smaller 1,796 cc's engine rated at 79 bhp for automatic. At the 1974 October Motor Show, Peugeot presented a more powerful engine for the 504 coupe copyright and cabriolet, now fitted with a 2664 cc's V6 unit developed in collaboration with Volvo and Renault. This was the same engine that would be used for the 604 Berline, to be introduced at Geneva 5 months later, in March 1975. The engine incorporated various innovative features such as an aluminium cylinder block, and a fuel feed system that employed carburetors of differing type, one featuring a single chamber controlled directly according to the movement of the accelerator pedal, and the second being a twin-chamber carburetor designed to operate simultaneously with the first, using a pneumatic linkage. Maximum output for the 504 coupe copyright and cabriolet fitted with this new V6 engine was given as 136 bhp, supporting a top speed of 186 km per hour. During 1975, the first full year of production, 2,643 of these 6-cylinder 504 coupe copyright S and cabriolet were produced, which was considered a respectable number, although dwarfed by the 236,733 four-cylinder 504 Berlins, and brakes produced by Peugeot in France in the same year. Following launch of the 6-cylinder cars, the 4-cylinder versions of the coupe copyright and cabriolet 504s were delisted. They returned to the showrooms in 1978 in response, it was reported, to customer demand. At the Paris Motor Show of October 1976, the option of an enlarged diesel engine was introduced. The stroke of 83 mm remained the same as that of the existing 2,112 cc's diesel motor, but for the larger engine the bore was increased to 94 mm, giving an overall 2,304 cc's along with an increase in claimed power output from 65 to 70 bhp. The 2,112 cc's diesel engine would also find its way into the Ford Granada since Ford did not at the time produce a sufficient volume of diesel sedans in this class to justify the development of their own diesel engine. Peugeot 504 production in Europe was pruned back in 1979 with the launch of the Peugeot 505, and the last European example rolled off the production line in 1983, although the pickup version continued in production, and was available in Europe until 1993. The 505 shared most of the Peugeot 504 mechanical parts, similarly to the Peugeot 604 and Talbot Agora. More than 3 million 504s were produced in Europe, ending in 1983. Manufacturing continued in Nigeria and Kenya until 2006, utilizing the Peugeot knockdown kits. Kenya production was 27,000 units and the car remained on sale to 2007, being described as King of the African Road. Egypt also had its own production facilities. The car was assembled in various countries, under license of Peugeot. In Australia it was assembled by Peugeot's rival Renault, and sold through Renault Australia's dealer network. The Peugeot 504 is also one of the most common vehicles employed as a bush taxi in Africa. In China, the 504 was produced in pickup form, with a four-door crew cab, a live rear axle, on an extended estate platform. These were built by Guangzhou Peugeot Automobile Company. Chinese production of the 504 pickup ceased in 1997, when the joint venture folded. The Peugeot 504 was also produced in Argentina until 1999 by Seville in El Palomar near Buenos Aires, in sedan, estate and pickup forms. The pickup was manufactured in single and double cab with payload of over 1 ton from 1983 to 1997, and exported mainly to bordering countries. In 1991 the later models were slightly restyled at the front and rear, with the lamps and bumpers changing design. These cars were also given a new interior. Argentinian 504s offered the 1,971 cc's petrol 4-cylinder, or the 2,304 cc's diesel. The French company D'Angel also produced Peugeot-approved four-wheel drive brake and pickup models. Its engines and suspension were used in later models of the Paykan, the Iranian version of the Hillman Hunter. Mechanical configuration: the car was rear-wheel drive, with longitudinally mounted engines, canted over to bring a lower bonnet line to the styling. Manual or automatic transmission was offered. The suspension system consisted of McPherson struts and coil springs at the front end with either semi-trailing arms with coil springs or coil springs and live axle at the rear. The station wagon and most of non-European versions used an unusual torque tube layout with huge suspension travel, and great strength, meant that the 504 was suited to rough road conditions, and the car proved extremely reliable in conditions found in Africa, Asia, Australia and the like. Pickup versions were available with a live axle. The car used disc brakes at the front, and either disc brakes or drum brakes at the rear, depending on the model. The steering was a rack and pinion system. The Peugeot 504 was widely available with diesel engines and an automatic transmission option, which was a rare combination at the time. Engines were of the Andina design and included 1948 cc's, 2112 cc's, and a 2304 cc's. The Andina engine was also used in the Peugeot 403, Peugeot 404, Peugeot 505, Peugeot 604, Peugeot J7, Peugeot J9, Peugeot P4, Ford Sierra, Ford Granada, Talbot Agora, Mahindra Jeep, Leyland DAF 400, Cornell 4X4/UMM 4X4 Cornell, UMM 4X4, Belgian assembled Scuderia Volga M21, M22, M24D, Opel Blitz and for marine application. There were two petrol engines available in Europe, a 1796 cc's and 1971 cc's. The latter was also available with Kugel-Fischer mechanical fuel injection, first available on the earlier Peugeot 404. Gearboxes were either the BA7, 4-speed manual or ZF 3-speed automatic. Later pickup trucks in Europe gained a fifth gear. Export market vehicles had different variations available. Starting 1980, a sporty version of the 504 was available. It had a 1997 cc's engine rated at 128 horsepower and mated to the BA7/4 gearbox. It had a live axle and adjustable suspension. Very few were produced. Politics. In 1976, the government of Sri Lanka purchased a large number of Peugeot 504s for use of dignitaries attending the 5th Non-Aligned Movement Summit in Colombo. In November 2010, Iranian state television announced Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was to auction off his 1977 Peugeot 504 to raise money for charity. The car is white with a sky blue interior, and has covered only 37,000 kilometers since new. The political significance of the car being a 504 is that it was used as a working-class status symbol to draw electoral support from the less well-off during the 2005 presidential campaign. The money earned from the sale at international auction is to be donated to the MU Housing Project, a network of cooperatives that provides affordable housing for low-income families. Soon after being put on auction in January 2011, a bid of $1 million was received from an Arab country. When the auction closed in March 2011, the final bid was $2.5 million. WRC victories. References. External links.